All right, happy Monday. Welcome to yoga. Michelle Chua here. Find any way to sit comfortably to start. Maybe even start in child's pose for those of you that were asking for lower back release. You may want to have 2 yoga blocks or some kind of stable platform you could raise your hands onto to bring the floor up higher in today's practice of opening up the inner thighs and hips. We also had some requests for releasing the neck and shoulders. We'll integrate all of that as you focus mainly on calming the fluctuations of the mind. So in the midst of these past 6 months, those of you who are in Los Angeles, are a time of so-called quarantine and physical distancing, or just ever in your life, have you had a moment of just lamenting on the past and wishing you were back in the past? Has it ever happened? It's human. Sometimes when you're injured and your body is functioning differently, we can think about how it used to be and wish we were there. One of the keys in mindfulness practice, and yoga especially, is to learn how to make peace with change, knowing that it is inevitable as life is constantly flowing. So I extracted a few quotes from some of my favorite resources, and this resource is called Living Your Yoga, and it's by Judy Lancaster, and she said, "It takes a brave heart to deeply accept that everything changes. Even when things are not the way we want them, we still fear change. Our attachment to things remaining the same creates suffering. When we cling to the illusion of permanence, what we actually hope to secure is protection from the terrifying unknown that impermanence may represent." In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Book 2, verse 5, it says that ignorance, those of you who are familiar with yoga philosophy, that's one of the main roots or causes of suffering in life. Ignorance is mistaking the impure for the pure, the transient for the permanent, and that which is not the self for the self. There's a positive psychologist named Paul Wong, and he also wrote, "Craving for happiness necessarily causes us to fear or reject anything that causes unhappiness or pain." That sounds logical, but attachment to possession and achievement invariably leads to disappointment and disillusionment because everything is impermanent. Thus, the positive psychology of pursuing positive experiences and avoiding negative experiences is counterproductive, because the very focus on happiness contains the seed of unhappiness and suffering. Isn't that interesting? Failure to embrace life's experience in its entirety, the spectrum of suffering and pain to happiness and bliss, failure to accept all of it is at the root of suffering. And then lastly, one of my favorite authors who wrote How to Live Beautifully with Uncertainty and Change, Pema Chodron. She said, "When we resist change, it's called suffering. When we can embrace the groundlessness of our situation and relax into its dynamic quality, that's called enlightenment or awakening to our true nature, to our fundamental goodness. Freedom from struggling against the fundamental ambiguity of being human." So here's a food for thought you might integrate into your practice of yoga today. How can we relax with a sense of genuine and passionate relationship with uncertainty, with change, with impermanence? So find a comfortable seat if you're not otherwise in it. Perhaps close your eyes. Feel the surface of what your body is leaning on. And as you press downward to feel more anchored, to feel more grounded, observe what happens to your upper body as it rises, feeling the crown of your head lift. And between the top and bottom of your body, invite you to make a mental scan. Are you holding anything? Perhaps a sense of gripping or clenching from your day. Do you feel very soft or open in some areas? Now, with a sense of open curiosity, no need to label it good or bad, just expanding your awareness of your physical body. Becoming more curious of how your body is breathing, notice its qualities, depth, frequency, movements. Letting your breath quality be a window to your mind state, your emotional state. Noticing if there's anything you're digesting right now, circumstances in your life, particular thought that's been lingering. And as we allow our awareness to expand into all those various realms of being, continue to practice that sense of opening our awareness, letting go of having to feel it as good or bad, right or wrong, simply with kind curiosity to ourselves. Now let's start to deepen the breath into your belly. You might even place your hands there. Feel your belly expand as you inhale, pausing at the top for a few seconds. And then exhale just as slowly. Allow your belly to soften towards your spine. Hold the breath out at empty. And now place your hands onto your left and right side ribs. Breathe into there, feeling your rib cage expand. Then hold the breath in for a few seconds. And then slowly release the breath. Follow it out in your mind's eye. And then hold it out, observing your body. Place your hands on your chest, focusing the in-breath there. So your chest rises, collarbones expand. Hold the breath and slowly empty it. Then hold it out. So relax your breathing for a moment, and we're going to practice 3-part breath work, Durga Pranayama. Placing the left hand on your chest and the right hand on your belly. We'll divide the inhalation into 3 parts. First into the belly 1/3, then into the side ribs 1/3, and then into your chest 1/3. Then we'll hold the breath, consciously relax and sit tall, and then we'll exhale everything out and hold the breath out. Now you can decide if you want to exhale to your mouth or exhale to your nose, but do breathe into your nose and steady your gaze inward with eyes closed to the area of the third eye center, just between the eyebrows above onto your forehead. So exhale all of this breath out, then hold your breath. Into your belly, inhale 1/3. Into your side ribs, inhale 1/3. Into your chest, inhale 1/3. Holding your breath, just observe. Then slowly empty your breath completely. and hold it out. Observing there as you sit tall. Again, into your belly, inhale 1/3. Into your side ribs, inhale 1/3. Into your chest, inhale 1/3. Hold the breath in and just witness. Exhale completely. Hold your breath out. Let's do one more together. Inhale into your belly, 1/3. Then your side ribs, 1/3. Then your chest, 1/3. Hold the breath at the top. Exhale completely. Hold it out. Now I invite you to try one more cycle on your own. And with no rush, when you have finished holding your breath out, begin to breathe sustained in and out through your nose. So the mouth is closed. You begin to warm up while gently narrowing the back of your throat so you create a whisper. Balancing the breath slowly in through all 3 parts and slowly out to empty. Using this warming, focusing Ujjayi pranayama or victorious breathing to take us into our movement practice. So as you continue to listen to your breath, gently open your eyes and let's slowly come down to all 4s, hands and knees. Setting your knees right under your hips. Set your wrists about 2 inches ahead of your shoulders and choose a way to stretch your wrists. You might like to turn out your hands to whatever degree it feels good to stretch your inner wrists and forearms. You might flip one palm to face up and then switch as we start a few rounds of cat-cow. So inhale, glide your chest forward, then coil it up into cow pose, lifting your tailbone as you gaze up. Exhale, contract your belly, dropping your skull to dome your back into cat pose. Keep going at your pace. Inhale, glide forward, then lift your chest, softening your shoulders down. Exhale, hollow your belly. Feel your tailbone tuck under your body as you drop your head. Keep going about 3 more cycles of breath. Taking your time and really just going at your own pace throughout this practice. Always feeling into your body's response to each pose and movement and adjusting as you need so that you modify if necessary, you add more depth if necessary, and you take rest in child's pose when necessary. On your next exhalation, relax to a neutral spine and let's set the palms face down to add a little opening into the back, upper back and shoulders. So as you inhale, raise your left arm towards the sky, opening your chest. As you exhale, thread your left arm, palm face up, under your right bent elbow. Rest the left side of your head all the way down. If it doesn't meet the ground, place your block or a pillow under your head. Now as you flare your right elbow towards the sky, notice that your 2 hips are equidistant from your 2 shoulders, meaning you're not swaying your right hip closer to the front of your mat than the left. And in stabilizing your hips, stabilize your lower spine as you allow your rib cage to gently rotate, twisting across your waistline. Feel the space along the sides of your neck. Listen to 2 more full rounds of breath. At the bottom of your exhalation, press up to all fours, hands and knees. And let's get ready to switch sides. So inhale, raise your right arm up, open the chest. And exhale, thread it, palm face up under your left bent elbow. Rest the right side of your head all the way down using any prop to catch it if needed. As you flare your left elbow off the ground, feel the leverage of your left hand, adding stability so that you can also balance the height of your two hips. Listening to the quality of your breath. Welcome 3 more cycles here. Now, as you begin to come out of the posture, lower onto your belly, face down, lying on the ground. Come into Sphinx pose. So that you slide your elbows slightly in front of your shoulders as your chest is lifted. Palms are face down, forearms parallel. And then take notice of your legs. Bring your ankles about hips distance apart. And point your toes back with the effort of elongating your legs and tailbone towards the rear edge of your mat. Firm down through the tops of your feet so much that your knees actually don't make contact with the floor, but your pelvis does. Keeping that, soften the front of your shoulders slightly behind you. One more in-breath to broaden across your chest, looking slightly down ahead. Now keep the activity of your pelvis and legs and slide your hands back so that your wrists are alongside your floating ribs. Bending your elbows close to your sides. Picture the area just under your shoulder blades on your upper back. Contracting there, inhale, float your chest up and roll your shoulders down. Look on the floor ahead. Take an extra breath as you lengthen the back of your neck and relax your face. Then press up through all fours, hands and knees. Spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes. Bend your knees a lot and lift your hips high. Draw your sitting bones back to downward facing dog. So for the first 5 breaths, maybe you choose to shift around organically in any way that feels good to you. Or maybe you're ready to be still. Now feel your hands that your index fingers are parallel to each other facing forward. Thumbs are wide and flat. Actively pressing the mat forward and lifting your hips high, drawing your shoulder blades down your back. By rotating your outer upper arms or triceps towards the ground, broaden across the tops of your shoulders and completely relax your neck, looking down towards your feet. See that they're hips distance and parallel. Now let's hold still for about 2 more breaths, actively lengthening your spine. On your next inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhaling, bend your right knee and turn open at your hip. Now take a few breaths if you choose to just keep pointing the right knee out to the side or the sky, or to rotate your right thigh bone at the hip, warming up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Listen to the sound of your breath. Now firming down through fingers spread. Inhale, re-straighten your right leg behind you. Exhale, softly tap your right foot just outside of your right hand, making sure that as you bend your right knee, it lands directly above the heel. So here's where you might want to grab your blocks for underneath your hands in this lizard lunge. Right foot to the right of your 2 hands, opening up your outer right hip. So you can decide to keep your left knee lifted or to lower it to the ground. The latter can help if your shoulders are tensing up towards your neck. As you take a deep in breath, Lengthen the center of your chest towards your front wall. As you exhale, keep your feet where they are, but begin to scissor your right outer hip first, straightening the right leg, bowing inside of it with a long spine, not a rounded back. Now let's flow twice more. Inhale, rebend your right knee just over the heel, lengthening your chest forward. Exhale, scissor your right outer hip back. Elongate your spine and fold. Inhale, bend the right knee into lizard lunge. Exhale, scissor and bow in. Now let's come back to that lizard lunge. Spin your left heel flat on the floor, turning your left toes towards the upper left corner of your mat. Now adjust your right hand however high on that block you need so that you can nudge your inner right thigh with your right arm and your right thigh nudges back so your right leg actually stays still. Feel a sense of rotating your right outer hip, the glute, down underneath your body so that your tailbone begins to stretch towards your inner left heel as you raise your left arm towards the sky in this very modified, wide version of side angle pose. Let's take about 5 breaths. Soften your shoulder blades down your back ribs as you grow the top of your head towards your front wall. Feel the balance of weight through toes spread, heels on the earth as you rotate the middle of your chest slightly towards the sky. Keep rotating your right outer hip underneath your body with the same bend in your right knee over the heel. 1 more breath. Now as you exhale, lower your left hand either onto your block at its lowest height, the most stable, or onto the floor, whichever is easier for you to reach, so that your left shoulder is right on top of your left wrist. Bring your right hand to your right hip and begin to lift the heel of your left foot. Rotate onto the outer edges of both of your feet flexed. Both feet flexed. Drag your right foot to trace the right side of your mat down midway down your mat. And then reach your right arm to the sky. You're still on the pinky toe edges of your feet flexed. Now as you inhale, press the ground away with your 3 limbs and reach the right arm overhead towards your front wall. Notice how your left hip might rise. As you exhale, sink your left hip to tap the floor as you sweep your right hand towards your rear wall. Twice more. Inhale, press down to lift your left hip. Sweep your right arm overhead towards the front. Exhale, tap your left hip on the ground, right hand towards rear wall. Inhale up towards the front wall. Exhale down towards the rear wall. Then inhale up and over, plant both hands, stepping into your version of plank. So maybe your knees are on the ground to modify or your legs are straight. Let's take 3 breaths. Spread your chest forward as you gaze ahead. Lift your lower belly. Now you can lower your chin, knees, chin, and then slide on your belly, modified, or come forward through chaturanga, hugging your elbows towards your sides. Come all the way down. Press the tops of your feet down. Inhale into cobra. Press up through hands and knees or plank. Exhaling to lift your hips to downward facing. Just feel into 3 cycles of breath, letting your body drop into stillness as you observe it. On your next inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhaling, bend that knee and turn open at your hip. Now you could choose to raise the left knee, hold it still, or to circle your left thigh bone at the hip a few times. Relax your head down, float your shoulders up, away from it. As you inhale, raise your left leg behind you again. And exhale, slowly step your left foot outside of your left hand. Coming into lizard lunge, Grab your blocks if they're useful to place your hands on. And remember that you could also decide to lower your right knee to offer your shoulders more relaxation. See that your front knee is right over the heel, but not in front of it. Left foot and knee are facing forward. And then as you inhale in your version of your lunge, lengthen the center of your chest towards your front wall. As you exhale, scissor your left outer hip back towards straightening the leg, bowing inside of it. Again, inhale, bend your front knee, lengthen your chest forward. Exhale, scissor your left outer hip back, lengthen your spine and folds. Last time, inhale, bend your knee, chest forward. Exhale, scissor, elongate and fold. Return to your lunge and spin your right heel to the ground so your right toes are pointing at the upper right corner of your mat. Now you might adjust your left hand to be on the highest height of that block for more accessibility. Keep your front knee bent as it is. Press your left arm against your inner left thigh and press back with the thigh so your left leg stays solid. Rotating your left outer hip, your glute slightly under your body. Begin to raise your right arm towards the sky, opening your chest. How's your breathing? As we stay for about 5 breaths in this modified side angle pose, soften your shoulders away from your ears. Direct your tailbone and lengthen towards your right heel, and turn your chest slightly up towards the sky. On your next exhale, lower your right hand either to your block on its lowest height, most stable, or onto the floor, flat, so your right shoulder is directly above your right wrist. Lift your right heel, place your left hand on your left hip, and begin to roll onto the outer edges of both feet flexed. Slide your left foot down the left edge of your mat midway towards the rear, and then press the floor away with those 3 limbs as you reach your left arm up. Inhale, sweep your left arm overhead towards your front wall, lifting your right hip. Exhale, dip your right hip to touch the floor. Sweep your left hand to your rear wall. Twice more. Inhale, press down to rise up, left arm towards the front. Exhale, lower, leaning at the rear wall. Inhale, up and forward. Exhale, down. Then inhale, up and forward, lower into your version of plank pose. This time, just pause for an inhale, choosing your vinyasa cobra or upward dog. Exhale to lower. Inhale into your back bend. Engage your belly to lift your hips. And let your body be still for a few breaths in downward facing dog. And contributing to that feeling of stillness, direct your gaze onto the ground halfway towards your feet. Drishti or gaze is an essential part of the yoga pose too. Bending your knees a lot, lift your heels and hips high. Look forward beyond your fingertips. Take a full cycle of breath. Engage Mula Bandha or lift your pelvic floor as you hold the breath out while walking or floating to the top of your mat. Press the ground ahead of your legs. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Exhale, bow again. Firm down through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Watch your palms meet. Exhale, trace your thumbs together at your heart. Sun salutation V. Bend your knees to touch. Inhale, sit back towards your heels in chair pose, leaning the shins back. Exhale, shift your weight forward and fold. 1 breath each movement. Inhale, lift your heart, look forward, step into plank, or float into chaturanga as you breathe out. Inhale into cobra or upward facing. Exhale to downward facing. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, softly step the foot inside of your right hand. With your feet hips width apart, drop your back heel. Facing forward, inhale, rise into warrior one. Exhale, lower through plank and into your vinyasa. Your pace of breath. When you arrive in downward dog, inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale your foot just inside of your left hand, lowering your right heel. Facing forward, inhale, rise to warrior one. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. As you arrive in downward dog, commit to stillness and open awareness. Last round, same sequence. Let's wrap this one up. Look forward with bent knees. On empty breath, lift your pelvic floor to land at the top. Inhale, rise forward. Exhale, bowing. Knees touching. Inhale, sit back into chair. Exhale to rise up. One more Surya Namaskar B. Inhale into chair, Utkatasana. Exhale to fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Step through plank or flow into Chaturanga Dandasana. Keep going through your vinyasa. Continue at your pace of breath. When you land in downward dog, raise the right leg as you inhale. Exhale, step the foot inside of your right hand and spin your back heel down. Inhale, rise up to warrior one. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Remember that you have the freedom to choose any modifications as you need them in the moment. When you arrive in downward, inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale the foot inside of your left hand. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, lower flow, or if you need to rest, don't flow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Stillness, eyes steady, breath fluid, aware. With very bent knees, look ahead of where you want to land your feet. On emptied breath, lightly land. Inhale, rise forward. Exhale to fold. Bend your knees. Inhale, sit back towards your heels in chair pose. And exhale to rise up. So grab your blocks if you have them, and let's turn to face the wide width of your mat. Come to stand at the center, open your arms, step your feet almost as wide apart as your wrists, just slightly shorter stance for triangle pose. And then place your blocks behind your calves. If you only have one block, place it behind your left. And then from your hips, I'm gonna mirror you. Rotate your thighs and pivot both of your feet so that you're facing your left foot as your front leg, aligning your left heel generally to the arch of your right foot. Now, keeping your legs straight from down with spread toes not gripping the mat, and engage the front muscles of your thighs. Glide your pelvis sideways towards your rear leg as you reach your left hand towards the wall in front of you. Before tilting your hand onto your left leg or just to the left of your leg, maybe using your block, or you could firm your arm and leg against each other and rotate your left outer hip under your body. Remember how we did those things in that modified side angle pose at the start. Then raise your left arm. Feel a lift up to your left fingertips, helping to lighten the weight of your right hand. Now, as you steady your gaze or close your eyes on steady your gaze on one spot or close your eyes, mentally scan your body with open awareness. Do you feel any sense of gripping or clenching anywhere? Be able to diffuse by recognizing. At the same time, feel activity in the muscles of the fronts of your thighs, your belly, even your back muscles. Let's take 2 more breaths here in Utthita Trikonasana. And firming down to both feet. If you only have one block, grab the block you're using, and then inhale to rise up. We're gonna go right to the other side. So rotate from your hips, pivot both of your feet to face the opposite edge of your mat. Generally align your right heel to the arch of your left foot. As you firm your feet down, engage the fronts of your thighs. Lie your pelvis sideways towards your rear leg. Reach your right hand forward, then down. Either onto your leg or just to the right outside of it. Pressing arm and leg against each other. Rotate your right outer hip and glute slightly under your body. And direct your tailbone towards your left heel. You'll reach up to your left fingertips. Choose one spot to steady your drishti or gaze on. And again, mentally scan your body with your kind curiosity. Is there an overall energy with which you're holding this posture? Allowing 2 more breaths here. Then pressing down to both feet. Inhale to slowly rise up. And then keep this wide stance. We're gonna turn out both of our legs from the hips. Bend your knees into a wide-legged squat. And just make sure that you're turning out your legs where the middle of your knees can point in the same direction as the middle toes under them, no matter how turned out. And rock a little side to side. You might use your hands to gently encourage your inner thighs to rotate back so the sitting bones draw downward and your frontal hip bones slightly lift. And then as you press, the thighs gently open, press down to your feet. Lift the spine a little taller and take a deep breath. And begin to turn your chest to your left, looking over your left shoulder into a spinal twist. A few breaths here. Be aware that your knees are still in line with the middle toes. On your next inhale, lift your spine through center. Keep your thighs open, and exhale, switch sides. Twisting along your waist, look over your right shoulder. The inhalations, feel a sense of lengthening your spine from your pelvis. And with the exhalations, encouraging your chest to keep turning. Coming back to center, just straighten your legs to ease out of that squat just for a moment. We're gonna invite a half squat. So if you're wanting to use your blocks, you can place them in front of you here. Possibly start at their tallest height. And then we're gonna come into that squat again with the hands on blocks in front if you're using blocks. If you're not using blocks, you can keep your hands on your hips or your thighs. Now be mindful again of your knees to line up with your middle toes. And then walk your hands closer to your left leg as you keep the knee bent. Begin to curl your right toes up so you're flexing the foot and slide the right heel towards straightening the leg. Notice that your right knee is pointing up towards the sky as you allow your tailbone to draw down like an anchor. Floating your chest wide open as you release the shoulders down. Let's take 3 more breaths here in Skandasana. If you're able to nudge your inner left thigh with your left arm, like we did in that modified side angle pose, you might even reach the right arm up. Look up towards your right hand, perhaps. And with 2 hands on blocks or your hips, let's come back through center in that wide-legged squat. Walk your hands towards your right leg as you bend your right knee. Curl your left toes up, flexing the foot towards straightening your left leg. Notice that your left knee is pointing up towards the sky as the tailbone descends. Float your chest open. Let the tops of your shoulders relax down. Perhaps use the right arm to nudge the inner right thigh and raise the left arm for some added balancing challenge. Couple more breaths in Skandasana. Now return to center, and you might make the block slower as we wiggle our way side to side from one Skandasana to another towards sitting down towards a straddle. Now as you come to sit, if you find your back begin to round automatically, find something like your block to elevate your pelvis on and sit towards the front edge of it so that your pelvis slightly tilts forward. And then by engaging the belly, you can uplift your spine. Have 1 block in front of you, maybe 2 blocks if you're not sitting on them, 1 for each hand, and then flex your feet again. Try to keep your knees facing the sky as your sitting bones root down like anchors. And with a deepened breath, focus on lengthening or restacking each vertebra from bottom up, and then the top of your head. And as you exhale, trace your awareness from your crown down the ladder of your spine to the tailbone. Continue that, breathing in from your tailbone, up each vertebra to the crown, and then exhale from the crown down your spine. As you continue, you might explore to see how it feels to walk your hands a little bit forward, maybe come down onto your forearms. We're going to be here for 2 more minutes, more of a yin and restorative type of posture, giving your body some time, some space. Truly feel trust as you slow down your breathing and relax your nervous system. Giving it permission to perhaps ungrip, unhook. If there's any area that feels tight. As we loosen our grip of life's experiences and honor and perhaps even learn to celebrate their impermanence. The work on our bodies of letting go, of ungripping, can help to transfer into our mind state. And as we familiarize ourselves with that energy of release, I invite you to listen to 3 more of your breaths. your own pace. When you finish, begin to walk your hands gently closer to your pelvis as you lift your chest, slowly lowering your spine. Bring your hands to your outer thighs, bend your knees, and gently slide your legs closer together. Woo! And as they come together, just give them some movement, a shake, a little happy feet dance from all that flexing. Now take one of your blocks as we find our way on our backs. Opening up the chest a bit in Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. We're gonna go for 2 rounds. Now the first round you might start in bridge. The second round you might ease into restorative bridge or heighten into upward facing bow, depending on your energy level right now. But let's start in regular bridge. Take that block by the skinniest width and hug it in between your thighs. If you don't have a block, just separate your thighs and feet, your hips distance. Bring your arms down by your sides and walk your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite. Make sure that your feet are parallel, drawing the shoulders on the earth. Tilt your chin slightly away from your chest. Now when you lift up, counting on your own, take about 5 to 10 breaths before lowering as you exhale. So pressing your feet down, lift your pelvis and actively stretch your tailbone and the fronts of your thighs forward. Engaging your hamstrings by keeping your feet still, but imagining as if you're dragging them back towards your glutes. Walk your upper arms closer together under your back ribs, keeping your arms straight. If your hands meet, maybe interlace the fingers. Now feel the earth as you press into it with your feet, outer upper arms, shoulders, and the upper part of the back of your head. Encouraging full inhalations as this posture helps to expand the capacity of your lungs, opening up energy from the heart center. As your thighs remain parallel, slightly spin your inner thighs towards the earth without pigeon-toeing your feet. You decide when you're ready to come down. Use an exhalation to articulate each vertebra kissing the earth. When you lower your pelvis, refrain from hugging your knees in just yet. Just let the pelvis relax here. Let your body be still as you digest that experience of your back bend. Now, honoring what your body feels right now. Does it need a more cooling down posture? Use the block under your sacrum if so, whatever height you want the block to be, and stay here and restore to bridge. Or a hotter posture, upward facing bow. Continue to hug the block between your thighs, but plant your hands alongside your ears. Palms face down, fingertips pointing towards your shoulders and slightly turned out towards the outer edges of your mat. Keeping your arms parallel, just like your legs. If you're going to upward bow, lift your pelvis, engage your hamstrings and lengthen the tailbone forward. Then bring the top of your head to the floor, pause, and draw the shoulder blades down your back. You might adjust the hands slightly wider apart to keep the elbows from flaring apart. And when you're ready, you might push off your hands and feet, lifting your head. Continue that action of energetically dragging the heels back without visibly doing so, as you lengthen your tailbone forward and let your head just fall. Deep breaths. Urdhva Dhanurasana. And when you're ready to come out, reverse the stages of getting into it. Top of the head to the floor, pause. Then tuck the chin towards your chest, pause. And gently lower one vertebra at a time. So whatever posture you just finished, if you have a block under your body, please remove it so your pelvis is on the ground. And then just bend your right knee into your chest and slide your left leg straight forward on the ground. Just allow a moment here to hug your right thigh a little closer in as you draw your shoulders onto the floor. You might even like to rotate your right foot, stretching into your ankle. Let's prepare for a supine twist. Scoot your pelvis about 2 inches closer to the right edge of your mat. Slide your right arm wide onto the right side, making sure to keep the right shoulder down. Begin to cross your right thigh over your body to your left side. Looking over your right shoulder to help stretch your neck. Now, if your lower back is asking for a little more sensation, you could use your left hand on your left outer hip to gently press it away from your belly and towards your left heel. Spinal twist, I find it's helpful to visualize the breath again from the base of the spine up to the crown as you breathe in. And then from the crown of the head down your spine as you breathe out. Let's offer 2 more breaths for the spinal release. Then gently unwind onto your back and just straighten both of your legs. Bring your body towards the center of your mat. And again, pause, observe. Then bend your left knee into your chest. Hug the thigh a little closer. Draw the shoulders down, maybe circle your left foot. And slide your pelvis a couple inches closer to the left edge of your mat. Slide your left arm wide onto the ground. Keep your left shoulder grounded as you begin to twist to the right. Turning your head to your left. And if your lower back is asking for more sensation, place your right hand on your left outer hip. Gently press it away from your belly and towards your right heel. And perhaps you breathe from the base of your spine to your crown, exhaling from crown to your tailbone. Hold space for this release here. 3 more breaths. And as you're ready, come back to center. Gather your knees into your chest and hug it all in, or rock, whatever you want to add here to help seal it in. So I'd like to offer a few options for this last posture before Shavasana. Either find a way to comfortably and relaxed lift your legs up. Perhaps you're using a wall to lean your legs on, or maybe you practice shoulder stand or plow as long as you don't have any neck injuries. Or for those of you who specifically requested neck stretches, turn over to one side and we'll sit up and take a few stretches in the neck. So those of you that are sitting, make sure that you're using any prop under your pelvis if needed. And then place your left hand on the right side of your skull. Wrap your right arm behind your body, maybe towards your left hip. And then just gently drop your left ear closer to your left shoulder as you press your 2 sitting bones down. Lengthen your lower spine from your pelvis and release your shoulders downward. Now, use the gentle weight of your left hand on your head to traction movements. As you inhale, begin to look up towards the sky, still leaning towards your left ear, and then pause here for a few breaths. On your next exhale, keep your hand there and look down towards your left collarbone. Pause here for a few breaths. Now one breath each motion, but really do it slowly. Inhale, slowly look up again. Exhale, gradually look down again. Then roll your chin to the center of your chest, release both arms, and gently lift your chin, lift your crown. Now place the right hand on the left side of your head and gently tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder. Wrap your left arm behind your back. Maybe you reach for your right hip. And then relax the shoulders down as you firm the sitting bones down. Sit tall to your lower spine. Notice your breathing. Consciously relax your jaw and tongue. Use the weight of your right hand to traction movements. And as you inhale, begin to look up towards the sky. Softening the muscles around your eyes, smoothen the skin on your forehead. On your next exhale, look down towards your right collarbone. Few breaths here. Now one breath, each motion. Inhale, very slowly look up again. Then exhale, very slowly look down again. Trace your chin to the center of your chest, release both arms, and then gently lift the crown of your head towards the sky. Now let's make our way into that final resting pose. Choose whatever position you'd like to lay your body to rest in. You can feel completely comfortable to be still. Closing your eyes, perhaps take one last long exhalation. And consciously let go of controlling your breath. In stillness, with open awareness, feel a sense of trust, an inner stability. with about 2 minutes remaining of our practice. If you prefer to stay in Shavasana, then feel free not to move. But if you'd like to join me for 2 minutes of a softly guided meditation, then gradually lift your body upright to sit. And if you're sitting, allow any adjustments to your physical posture so that you feel alert, grounded physically, and relaxed. You might choose to close your eyes, resting your hands in your lap. Now feel the natural coming and going of your own breath. Each new breath unique, a constant flux, an inevitable change. Feel your body and mind at peace with a change within your breath. Notice your feeling of stability as your body sits in stillness. Your mind witnessing this constant change that is your breath. Feel your ability to be at peace with this continuous change. As you notice with open curiosity, witness how each inhalation, exhalation are unique or is unique, different from the others. Perhaps you feel a sense of slight adventure in noticing the differences in your breaths. Newness of each breath. Notice how you feel during this process of observation. Of calmly witnessing change in process. Although your breath is groundless, there's no perfect cadence. You still have the ability to feel a sense of grounding from within through choice. you're still lying down and want to close with us, gently make your way up to sit. Allow your palms to meet in front of your heart as you lift your heart. Bow in. True gratitude to yourself for your openness to explore. In what ways can you observe change around you with the same feeling of inner groundedness? Let's close the practice with one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. I just got attacked.